I'll be honest with you, I did not know that Nike was doing a shoe to honor Martin Luther King Jr. However, David Dennis Jr. started to sort of raise the problem that actually the shoe has maybe gotten it a little bit wrong because of the way that the tribute has been handled.
If you had told me what is the worst idea, this would be in the bucket of 5 worst ideas.
David Dennis Jr., let me tell you, he went in on all the problems with this particular Nike shoe. Get into it. Good to see you, pal. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Always good to hang out with you.
Thanks, man. Listen, for people who have not seen it, would you briefly just kind of describe this LeBron MLK shoe?
So the color is really what to describe here. The color of the shoe is a very distinct teal color, right? Which it's a beautiful color, looks great. They just put it on the shelves. I'd be like, "Ooh, I want this shoe." But the problem is the teal color is the same color as the sign of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, which is infamously the place where Martin Luther King was assassinated. So they are making a shoe to honor Dr. King by making it the color of the sign of the place where he was murdered. So therein lies the problem.
So the tribute is actually the color itself. Like that is like how that's a manifestation of this. Talk to me about your reaction though. You see the shoe and then you waded in pretty quickly being like, oh, I don't know about this. What's the first thing that gave you pause there?
First thing that gave me pause is that fact that it's 2026 and there's AI all over the place. And I was like, this can't be a real thing. Like this cannot be something that they're actually doing. And then once I realized that it is something that they're actually doing, I was sort of in disbelief, but kind of not, because this is where capitalism is sort of leaning to, of the monetization of everything. There are so many different ways that you can honor Dr. King and his life. It's MLK Day, right? So there are so many different places, things. He went to Morehouse. He lived in Atlanta. There's Birmingham. There's Selma. There's all these things to choose.
You can pull from all those things.
Pull from all of them. And to just choose the signage of the place where he was killed, which, you know, as a lot of people I think know, but some may not, the Lorraine Motel is now the site of the National Civil Rights Museum, right? So this is the place where they've turned it into a civil rights museum, which had its own level of controversy even at the time, even still, of should this place be a museum. And the museum, to its credit, place I've been a bunch of times, they've turned it to sort of a look at the last few days of Dr. King's life, right? Sort of what it was like for this man in those moments as he was right before he was assassinated, right? In the aftermath, right? And so the shoe doesn't do any of that. It did not collaborate with the museum. It doesn't teach us anything about Dr. King. It just slaps a color from the place where he was killed and puts it on the shoe, which I think is the difference between the motel and the museum itself and what they're doing with the shoe.
Okay, so I just want to contextualize the response that Nike has had. So John Jarvis is Nike's vice president of communications. In the New York Times, he's reported as saying, quote, "Design is so subjective, and some people the design will resonate with, and others maybe less so. And obviously that becomes a bit more charged when you have bigger principles at play. A bit more charged when you have bigger principles at play." What do you make of that response?
That response is basically, we're making the shoe tough for everybody. Like there was no budging whatsoever. There was nothing. There's no subjective way to look at this shoe and say that I am getting any sort of honor out of about Dr. King. There's nothing about the shoe that honors him, that teaches me anything about him. What is a child who goes to a shoe store and picks up this shoe learning about Dr. King? What I'm learning about the shoe is it also has some sort of tribute to LeBron James scoring 51 points against the Grizzlies, like that, in Memphis. Like that, what does that have to do with Dr. King? And when you say the name "Honor the King," like LeBron James is the king, right? So there is a double meaning of the shoe. Like it's the King of James and King and Dr. King. Like there is nothing that I can glean from this shoe that makes me feel connected to Dr. King's legacy, that makes me feel I'm learning anything about his legacy, that is a net good to society by having this shoe out. They didn't, like I said, they didn't work with the museum. Are you donating proceeds? Are you doing anything that is in the spirit of Dr. King besides putting a shoe out that is for $210, right? That you're gonna theoretically have people line up and buy these shoes, which is also important to note that Dr. King was in Memphis when he was assassinated to work with the sanitation workers and the unions, and this is a very much a rebuke of capitalism itself, is why he was there. And you're slapping that color on something that is solely in pursuit of capitalism.
I'm trying to sort through some of the ways that sort of the Nikes kind of waded into this stuff before, right? Because in 2020, they created Martin Luther King Jr. on court jerseys for the Atlanta Hawks. In 2018, Nike released an all-black Air Force One sneaker with the word equality printed on the heel for Black History Month. So it's not the first time that Nike sort of said, you know what, we are interested in these conversations. Sometimes they've done it, and it's kind of landed well with people, and then there are moments when it kind of misses the mark. What do you think they can learn from a moment when they miss the mark like this one?
I think the thing that you can learn from this moment is we're learning who is and who is not in the room. Right? We're learning who they're not talking to, which again, they didn't talk to the museum. Some of these collaborations that have made hit the mark, for the most part, they have worked outside of the people in that room, right? They've worked there. The Memphis Grizzlies had a jersey that did have the Lorraine Motel color on it about 10 years ago, but it was the 50th anniversary of the actual assassination. So they were trying to sort of teach people about the assassination. They worked with the museum to do that, right? This seems like something that was just a boardroom decision. It wasn't well thought out, and it does not meet the moment of the time right now, where we are looking at corporations and saying which one of these corporations are hitting the moment and who's missing the moment, who's standing with us and who's standing against us. And Nike said, we're going to do the laziest thing possible and slap a color on this shoe. It is even heightened now than when they were doing the Black History Month shoes, when they were doing the MLK jerseys. It is a moment in time where we feel like every single one of these billionaires and billionaire corporations is working against us. Who is going to be here to have our back? And Nike right now is saying that at least for this moment, this shoe represents us not having anybody's back.
Okay, David Dennis Jr., please don't mistake this for me saying that I think a corporation can be our friend. I am not saying that at all. But I do think that Nike got quite a bit of credit for making Colin Kaepernick the face. In 2018, they made him the face of their 30th anniversary Just Do It campaign. And that's after a couple of years of Colin Kaepernick having taken a knee to protest police brutality. Look, the company was trying to say, these are our values. We care about this thing. And it's really important to us to that. And so what I'm trying to navigate here is when do you give a company credit and when do you not give a company credit?
So don't ask if your dreams are crazy. Ask if they're crazy enough.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Nike, it is a complicated thing because they have stuck their neck out, like you said, for the Kaepernick. They have done some of these Black History Month things. They've had some sort of some real disruptive commercials, right? That you feel that you're attached to. But I think right now, this moment, a lot of these corporations that we felt like had our back, we do feel like they're turning their backs on us, right? We do feel like they've turned a corner. We do feel like look at the Target boycott, right? Part of this was that I think Target is feeling the boycott as more than anybody else because they had positioned themselves as the store that was for Black people, right? They were the ones that were going to put Black owners and Black merchants in their stores, and then for them to go anti-DEI, they're feeling the wrath more than anybody. And I think Nike is kind of in that same position, is that they felt like they were a corporation that, as again, using the corporation curve, you know what I'm saying? There's only going to go so far, that they felt like they were going to be with us in these moments. And you do something like that, it's saying, oh, you're just kind of like everybody else, right? You're kind of like these other places that are turning their backs on us right now. And it's an ill-opportune time to be somebody who's doing that.
Let me just contextualize the Target thing you're talking about. Target was for some time sort of spotlighting the Black owners of different stores, and then with as the Trump administration kind of started to crack down on DEI policies, they reversed and rolled back some of those policies that Target rolled back some of those policies that they've had, and as a result, they've come under quite a bit of criticism publicly. People have been boycotting Target. People have been protesting outside of Target sometimes. As you sort of look at this Nike situation, the shoe, this idea that hey, we're doing a shoe to honor LeBron's 23 years in the NBA. That sounds like a thing that Nike would do. That makes that's logical to me. What would have been a better way for them to handle this shoe, do you think?
Anything else? I think if you had told me what is the worst idea, this would be in the bucket of 5 worst ideas. I mean, you could do anything. You could do a Morehouse shoe. You could do a shoe
great.
with a little bus on it. You could do there's just so many different things that you could do to honor Dr. King along the way. Having a shoe that is after the place where he was murdered is at the very, very bottom of the list. Like, if they do anything else for Dr. King, they don't even have to make a color. They just say, hey, this is a Dr. King shoe, and leave it at that. Everybody be like, okay, fine, this is a Dr. King shoe. It's like, there's so many other ways
Nothing would have been
to
better
do
than this, is what
Anything,
you're saying.
nothing would have been like, we would not even be talking. I would not have even known that there was a Dr. King shoe if they just made a regular shoe, right?
Yeah.
Like, this feels like somebody made a joke, and they were like, oh, that sounds great, let's do it. And it's that bad.
David Dennis Jr., it's always a delight and a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on, friend. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yes, of course. David Dennis Jr. is a journalist and culture critic based in Atlanta, Georgia.